Friends, how are you? Igor Pachkovsky is here with Windermere Bellevue Comments, your trusted real estate advisor in Seattle and Bellevue Eastside metro areas. Today I have another awesome market update for you. We will cover a lot of ground, so stay tuned. We will start with the latest CPI numbers that came out last Thursday. And inflation numbers, which are a very big deal. I'll try to explain a few things, what happens on that front. Then we're gonna move to numbers. I wanna show you something pretty interesting from what we experienced so far in the market. And in the end, we'll address some of the tech layoffs and all the slowdown that people in comments write that I don't address, and things are really, really bad, and what that all means. So as you know, I always try to make things as simple as possible for you to understand here locally what is going on, and that's what we're gonna do today. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. So friends, if I mumble too much, just so you know, just because of this, broke my fingers, not the most exciting thing. I've been postponing this video for a few days, but I'm like, I gotta get this done so you know what is happening. So bear with me, I'm trying my best here. Kind of fun, to be honest with you. Learning things, exciting new things, trying to do with your left hand. But let me get you through the slides. Let's dive into inflation and what exactly happened last week. So friends, let's go into inflation. Last Thursday, we got a latest CPI report, Consumer Price Index, suggesting that CPI number went up by 0.3% on a year-to-year basis. As you can see in the slide, when inflation will peak, 0.3% was a lot better than what it was expected, because it was expected that'd be probably closer to 0.6, 0.7, as you could see in September. What that means is, looking into the year-over-year numbers, that inflation, when you see this headline and core is where it's stripped from energy and food prices, which is extremely volatile. So headline inflation actually came down from 8.2% to 7.7%, which was way better than expected, because the expectation would be that it would be around 8%, but it landed at 7.7%, suggestion that inflation easing, which is very, very good news. I won't go into specific details breaking down by category of what are the things got better months over months, year over year. But let's just summarize it, that the whole inflation decreasing to 7.7 suggests, I know it might be a little too early to say, but suggests that we're finally taking a grip on inflation, and what Fed is doing by an increasing interest rate is in fact working. I talked to many different business owners. They finally see, what was the reason for inflation go so rocket high? One of the reasons, supply chains that are finally starting to open up. The freight costs are going down, shipment costs are going down, cost of used cars are going down because there are more new cars, because there are more chips to make new cars and so on. So what Fed been doing is working. It takes time for the impact of this increased interest rates to come in, to have them work. But at the same time, we start to see first identification. So if inflation is in fact easing, which we'll have to see next month's numbers, I agree with you, let's wait another month. But if it in fact is the way it is, it would mean that those interest rates for mortgages are, we were taking a grip on that as well, that 7% was the highest it would go. So in fact, if both inflation and interest rates will start going down for mortgages, that will mean that we reached the bottom of this pricing correction. And from now on, the prices will start to increase little by little. So let me show you a few slides to support the topic. As you see, year over year change in consumer price index, if numbers will continue to go down and next month we have that trend going down, that'd be a great news. So obviously the stock market is not going to wait, stock market isn't as patient to see this, 6 months down the road decrease to, or maybe 1 year down the road, decrease to inflation measures of being as a target 2.4%. So last week, as you could see, when the announcement had happened, the stocks just went through the roof, huge increases, and that directly influenced the bond market. So when stocks do good, money from bond market goes into stock market, which decrease the interest rate. When stocks do bad, money goes to bonds, which increase the interest rates. That's simplified way to say. So when you see at this slide, red is bad, green is good, we had mortgage rates going down and down and down, which would mean that they were going up, the market was going down, and we have those massive swings where last week the interest rate was 7.25, decreased to 6.5 in a matter of a day, and that's where it currently sits. So let's summarize before we go into numbers. If in fact we take a grip on inflation, meaning we took a grip on the mortgage rates as well, and they will be decreasing. Some experts say that we will see maybe a rate of 5.5% through the next Q3 or Q4 of next year. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that the market will gain 400K in the next few months, no, but we will be going back to a normal market. Selling half a mil over asking is not normal, but selling the house with 1, 2, 3 offers over asking is normal in our area, and that's most likely that you're going to see where the rates slowly but surely start going down for mortgages, and the demand will be slowly picking things up. That would be one of my predictions for 2023. Let's see what the inflation numbers show for next month. We're gonna come back to this, but those massive swings and those CPI numbers last Thursday are huge, and we will keep following those numbers very closely starting next week. Let me know what you think of the CPI numbers. Good, bad, ugly, put it in comments. Let's look into numbers. France, let's start with the east side. So we'll dive through the numbers, we'll go quick. Let's look at the inventory. So 2.4 months of inventory on the east side. That is an increase, I believe, from 1.9 the last month. So we get a little bit more inventory, but also it's a seasonal thing. Usually going into November and December, there is a little bit more inventory during this time of the year. We're still not close to balanced market. I have a feeling that come January, February of that year, don't forget, we have about 30% of buyers that are on the defense about buying so far. They're holding on to see what happens. They go to open houses. The open houses are packed. There are very few offers, but open houses are still very packed. So if I'm right and we continue to see those good news on inflation and interest rates starting to drop down a little bit, that would mean that I think beginning of next year, we'll see that inventory being eaten up, but those buyers coming back into the market. But for now, we have 2.4 of a month, and that's pretty good. Like if you're the buyer, you have options. That's what you always wanted, right? So the interesting one is the median price, 1.35 mil. Two things here. One, it's a 1% below what the last year was. At that time, it was at 1.365. That's fine. We're pretty much right on the money. But the interesting thing is that's the third month in a row. So we had August, September, and October, 3 months in a row, 1.35 mil. So if I'm correct when we say that that was the peak of interest rates, that was the peak of inflation, and the market just stood ground at 1.35 on the row, 3 months in a row, that says something, doesn't it? So I do believe it'd be a bottom of it. If you look my videos 4 or 5 months ago, I said that the bottom would be at 1.3 mil, and that seems where it is at 1.35, 1.3 mil. So we're gonna continue to monitor that number, but we still have multiple offers in markets. As you see, the market got a little bit busier from September to October. 15% of homes sold over asking, increased from 13%. Average days on market, 4 days, guys. What are we talking here? 4 days on the market as an average, and still median difference from list price at 3%. Meaning great homes sell, and that's the home you want to buy. So yeah, that's really it. The biggest one is 3 months in a row, same price, and that's a 22% decrease from the peak prices of 1.72 back in April. We're down 22% this year so far, and still pretty much at the same as we were last year. And My prediction, it's the bottom of the market already. So let's look into Seattle. Seattle is even more interesting. Seattle doesn't stop surprise me, but the inventory 2 months, it's a bit of an increase from what it was last month. Last month, actually, it's a decrease of inventory, 2.1 last month. So we're staying right around 2 months, which is great. Then you have next the median price, which that's a fun one, $950. So Seattle was dropping for 4 months straight, starting in May, mil 25, June 1 mil, July 954, August 927, September 900, and in October it went up to 950. So it actually increased 50 grand. Doesn't seem to me like it's dropping at 12% year over year increase with interest rates being at 7%, you guys. So numbers don't lie. As long as you want to say, oh, we're a bubble, all of that stuff, we're up 50 grand. We're up 12% year over year in the city of Seattle with all the bad news you had already for 6 months. So it's not just me not being realistic, or I'm just telling you what I see. Like Seattle is doing pretty good. So when you look at over asking, same as on the east side, 7% increase in multiple offers from 19% to 26. Average days in the market, 6 days. Median difference from list price is at 3%. Like Seattle is doing great. It didn't just slow down months. As the east side, it had those peak, it came down really quick and now it's flat. Seattle had a moderate growth over the last year. Moderate, went down a little bit, not as sharp. And now it's kind of back to 950. So Seattle's doing great. Let's look into Snohomish County. All right, Snohomish County inventory 2 months. Last month, I think it was 1.7. So Snohomish County is doing just fine. When it comes to median, 730. Last month was 735. So it just decreased 5 grand. Still up 5%. Snohomish County is doing pretty good. Just pretty good numbers, just as the east side. Average days in the market, 7 days. Median difference from list price, 2%. Do you guys realize that average days in the market is 7 days? It's extreme seller's market. So we have all of those different slowdowns. We have the rates. We have everything. We don't have enough inventory to satisfy the demand overall. Like 7 days is still relatively very quick time to be on the market. Like if you are a buyer, you have to remember you're looking for the best house. Well, the best house still sells 13% of them over asking. 2% median difference means that they don't have 200 grand over asking. They might have, $10,000-$15,000 over asking, and that's great. That's normal. That's what normal things should look like, and we're going to normal. So that's my update for you. Let's talk about the tech. Friends, let's wrap it up with the tech news. Some of you wrote me a message saying, oh my God, but tech is slowing, all of that. It's slowing, but we're not. There are two things that I'm trying to relate to you. One, we're not going to have that 25-30% year over year appreciation anymore. Neither we will have those bubbles and bursts, this massive, dramatic, end of the world bubble bursting things happening in our market. First of all, we were not in the bubble and we're still not. We're heading into normal market. When you read articles that, oh my God, Igor, but Microsoft just laid off 1,500 people. Well, keep continuing the article. Did you know that in the last few years, they hired 60,000 people? They hired so many people that sure, tech will have to push the reset button. I personally believe they had it too good for too long. It's all about the stock market. So to make sure the stocks looks good, because we had inflation going high, the Fed increases interest rates to slow down the spending, to bring the inflation figures down, which seems like what they're doing is working, meaning that, people spend less money. Same has to do with Amazon. Amazon had 2 Prime days this year that didn't go very well. They have to cut off some people to make sure that their stock look good. But how many did they hire over this time? Like, are they really gonna fire them the way that you think they will? Let's talk about Amazon. They have severance packages for like 4 to 6 months severance package. And all of the PTO that was promised that wasn't used over this years that they still will pay to their employees. They're gonna make sure that their stock looks good. That's what those companies are doing. The metaverse sucks. There are so many funny videos about the metaverse on the YouTube. I don't know much about the metaverse, but apparently that bet didn't pay off, and that stock, they lost like 60% of their stock value. Of course, they're gonna cut some people off. So the stock is slowing. People have to remember how to save money and don't just count for the stock prices to go up, which probably they will keep going up at some point when our economy does a little bit better. So with that being said, don't just read the headline, read the actual articles. How many people do they have? Why are they cutting them? And so on. My early prediction is January, February, we're gonna see a spike in our local real estate market. I do believe that we're hit the bottom, or we're like right there, that 1.3 mil. If those interest rates start going slowly but surely, the market will pick itself back up, which it's not a horrible market by any means. We have average days on market 7 days. So just cut the noise. Remember, you're buying a house. If you can find the home that you really like, if you can be sure of your employment because you did a great job, just go ahead, buy a home. You could refinance later because those interest rates will change, but the prices probably will start going up from here. And to close, one more thing. I know that in 2021, everybody were a real estate expert because it was so easy, right? Like you ask your high school teacher and they would be experts on real estate. You put a house on the market, 3 days on the market, you sell it with $500,000 over asking, everyone is a genius. It's not a case anymore. Like you have to actually read through this data. You have to have a feel and touch of the markets to advise your clients properly. There are a lot of confusing news out there. Midterm election, this layoff, this is good, all of that. That's why you come here, because I'm here just to tell you what I see going on. If we see market, as I said, going down and the floor will be 1.3, it happens to be at 1.3. So you are here to get the real news about our local market. Please share this video, subscribe, and if you're a home buyer, reach out to us. Let's just talk about that purchase. And if you're a home seller, today is more important than ever to hire a professional that actually knows what they're doing, because only best listing sells, best price, best looking, best everything, and you need to hire the best. Hire us. You have our numbers here. Let us know how we did. Sorry about this and just not being maybe as energetic, looking for all the other slides. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.